Okay, so last time we did chapter 2, we covered addition, we covered subtraction, we covered multiplication. Mr. Roy had all the rules up here for multiplication. Okay, now I put the rules up for addition. They're the same rules that he put up for multiplication. Okay, let's take a look. Since they're the same rules, we'll just start with a couple examples. Okay, and then we're going to have you guys try some on your own in a little bit too. Okay, first thing I like to do is just look at the sign. Okay, it's a negative divided by a negative. What do you get when you do a negative divide by a negative?
Anything, guys, if you're not sure, you can take out your reference sheet from last week. It'd probably be good to have out today as we go over this stuff.
How about Marcus? What's a negative divide by a negative? Positive. Okay, so we got a positive. So we already know the sign of our answer. It's going to be a positive. Now we just need to do 15 divided by 5. Okay, Laura, what's 15 divided by 5? 3. That's it. Okay, so we get 3. Okay, next one. Elijah, we have a negative divided by a positive. When you take a negative and divide by a positive, what do you get? Yep. A negative divided by a positive. Negative. Write that negative down right away because you know that's what your sign's going to be. Now we're going to look at the arithmetic. 27 divided by 3. Okay, how about Spencer? What's 27 divided by 3?
8. Negative 8.
3 times 8 gives us 24 if I check your answer. 3 times what is 27?
Oh, 9.
9.
Oh.
Okay. So negative 27 divided by 3, negative 9. Okay. And the last one. Okay. 4.8 divided by negative 0.6. Okay, these are decimals. Okay, so for a problem like this, you guys on the test, you can use your calculator. Okay, you could use your calculator, so we're not going to worry about how do we do long division with decimals. We're just going to use a calculator. Okay. Let me show you how you type it in. Okay, this calculator is good because it shows you exactly the order you need to type it in. 4.8 divided by, and notice there's 2 buttons here. One's a minus, one's a negative. There's the exact same thing on the calculators I'm going to give you in class. If you want a negative, you've got to use the dash that looks smaller. That's a subtraction sign. That's not a negative symbol. Okay? Before I hit enter, what kind of answer am I going to get? 4.8 divided by negative 0.6.
You're going to get a negative.
Yeah, I'm going to get a negative. Do you know what it is?
No.
Not sure? Think of how many times does, I know this problem's a little different, but 6 times what is 48? 6 times
8.
8. This is almost the same problem, and you could use that reasoning to figure it out. Okay? In this case, though, negative 8. Okay, so basic division with some numbers that weren't decimals, and then I gave you one that was. Okay, a few special cases. Okay, you got to be careful with these when you do division. And these special cases all involve the number 0. Okay, people mix these up all the time, so I'm going to give you a trick for how you remember it. Anytime you take 0 and you divide by a number, 0 divided by a number, okay, the answer is 0. Okay, the way you can think about that, imagine you had $0 and you had 5 friends. If you have $0 to give out to 5 friends, how much money does everybody get?
0.
0. If you had, bless you, if you had 0 divided by 6, if you're going to take $0 and give it out to 6 friends, everybody gets 0. Okay. The second one is a little tricky. Anybody know what happens when you have a number divided by 0? Yeah?
Undefined.
That's undefined. Okay, here's how you can remember the second one. A number divided by 0 spells no. Okay, when you see no, I want you to think, no, I can't divide it. I can't do it. Number divided by 0, no. Undefined. You can't do it. Okay? Any question on the first two? Okay, and then the last one. 0 divided by 0, there's really no trick to remember it other than use the trick you had before. If you've got a 0 in the bottom, the answer comes out undefined. Okay? 0 in the bottom, answer comes out undefined. 0 in the top, the answer comes out to 0. Okay? Any questions? Those are just special cases you just have to remember. All right. All right, so last thing we're going to do is division with fractions. Okay. Before we can get into division, there's one thing we have to know about, and that's called a reciprocal. Does anybody know what is a reciprocal? I've given you an example here, but just explain it very simply. What's a reciprocal? Clayton?
It's the fraction that you're dividing by flip over.
Yeah, it's when you flip it. That's it, you flip it. So if you had a fraction 2 over 3, what do you get when you flip 2 over 3? 3 over 2. That's the reciprocal. Okay? So to find the reciprocal, just switch what's in the top and bottom. Flip it. Okay, that's it. And where that comes in handy is when you have to divide. Okay, when we divide. If I give you two fractions, okay, I'll give you some examples. I'm going to have you guys try them. If I said to take 2/3 and divide by 4/5, you keep the top fraction the same. You don't do anything to it. Keep it exactly the same. Now the next part, this is where the reciprocal comes in. You're going to take the top fraction, then you're going to multiply it by the reciprocal of the bottom. That's the trick for division. Keep the top fraction the same, and multiply it by the reciprocal, or flip what's in the bottom. Any questions before we have you guys try on your own a couple with division? In fact, you know what? I'll leave the steps up there and I'll give you a couple examples. Right, so I'm going to have you guys try these two on your own. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is rewrite this as multiplication. It's 8/9 times what? -3 over 2. Okay, you're going to have to reduce it, so you can either reduce it now, or we can reduce it at the end. It doesn't matter. We'll do it at the end. Okay, what's 8 times -3? Yep, -24. What's 9 times 2? 18. Now, since we didn't reduce it before we started, we got to reduce now.
Correct.
What number can both of those be reduced by?
4.
2. Okay, you could do it by 2. You get -12 over 9.
Don't you want the highest?
Oh, 6.
Now we got to do it again, because we didn't pick the highest number.
Then you just try to pick the highest number.
Yeah, if you want to reduce it in one step, you should. But somebody said 2, so that's okay to start.
How about we do 6 instead of 2?
And now what do we do from here? Yep, by what?
3.
By 3. The top would become, yep, and the bottom? 3.
And guys, like Isaiah and Kayla was saying, if you want to divide by 6, right, you can just eliminate that second step. So if you eliminate it by, if you simplify by 6 or reduce by 6, that's fine too. You just save yourself some work, that's okay.
That's even better, yeah.
You can do that, that's fine. If you're not sure, and you want to do it in 2 steps, perfectly fine.
Okay, so next one is almost the same thing, but we got to start by changing this mixed number to an improper fraction. How do you change a mixed number to an improper fraction? Isaiah?
Don't you like...
Yeah, go ahead. Isaiah?
Don't you multiply them together?
Multiply what?
The 2 and the 5?
Yep, 2 times 5 is 10, and then
And
what?
then plus the 4.
which is,
14.
okay, so what do I do with the 14?
You put that at the top, and then the 5 would be the denominator.
Yeah. And don't forget, it was negative, still negative. So we just changed a mixed number to an improper fraction. Yes?
When we were adding the 10 to the floor, it was a negative 10 plus negative
So you treat it,
10.
just put the negative out front and pretend it's not there for the rest of the problem. Just do 2 times 5 is 10, and then 10 plus 4. So it's 14, then you put the negative in front. Okay. What about negative 7? Okay. Negative 7 is not a fraction, so Mr. Roy gave us a hint last week. What can we do? What number can we put there? Put a 1 under it. Okay? Clayton, what am I going to put as a fraction here? Perfect. So he multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay. Negative times negative is a positive. Cancel those out. What's 14 times 1? 14. What's 5 times 7? 35. Okay. What number goes into both 14 and 35? 7. 7 times
7 or 2.
2. And then 7 times
5.
5. Very good. 2/5. Okay, so that's your answer, 2/5. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is combining like terms. You guys have already done this. We taught you guys what like terms are. Just going to try it with negatives. Okay, so try these 3 examples on your own. All we want you to do is combine like terms. Okay, guys, let's take a look at these 3. So remember, these are expressions. These are not equations. So you're not solving. You're not going to get like y equals 2. There is no answer. You're just combining like terms. Okay? And the way you want to do it, we've got negative 9y plus 2y. Let's start with negative 9 plus 2.
Hey guys, when we're combining positives and negatives, that can mean I'm adding them, that can mean I'm subtracting them, right? If we have two different signs, right? What were the rules we talked about last academic week? You remember the rules that we talked about? When you're doing positives and negatives? Look at that reference sheet, guys. It's not toilet paper to you. Use it.
Okay, so what's negative 9 plus 2? You need to look at that sheet. Joe? I think if you're on a number line and you're at negative 2 and you go 2 units in the positive direction, negative 7. And because we were adding things that have y, what do we need on the end of this? A y. Okay, negative
You said
7y.
want to take the sign of the larger number. 9's bigger than 2, so we just do 9 minus 2, which is 7. Like Mr. Hager did, he put the sign first. Put the sign first so you don't make a mistake. Right? I know, a calculator is fine, but we don't always have that. You've got to know these rules. They're going to show up all year long.
How about 6 take away 9?
Negative 3.
Yep, negative 3. And what do you put on the end of it?
CD.
CD. That's the terms we were combining. C, D. Okay, now the last one, you've got different terms here that can't all be combined. Some can, some can't. The x's can be combined. The numbers can be combined. Okay. What's this first term? There's no number in front of the x. But there's always a number that's understood to be there if we don't write it. A 1. In this case, a negative 1. What's negative 1 plus 6? How much? That's like 6 take away 1. 5. What else do we need? Okay, we need an x because we combine terms that had x's. These other two numbers, -7 plus 4, can't be combined with that because they don't have an x. What's -7 plus 4?
What's the answer gonna be? Is it gonna be positive or negative?
Negative,
Negative, right? Why, Gila?
because the 7 is bigger than the.
7's bigger than the 4 and 7's negative. Perfect, thank you.
And Tyler, did you have the answer? Negative,
Negative 5x minus 3.
well, positive 5x and then minus,
Yeah. Minus.
minus 3. Okay, so 5x minus 3. All right, so last thing we're going to have you guys try, I'm going to do this one with you, okay, is the distributive property, except now we're going to do it with a negative.
Guys, before Mr. Hager starts, Spencer.
Yes.
What's it, when you're doing the distributive property, what math operations is Mr. Hager gonna use?
Multiplication.
Thank you, Spencer. Did you change your name?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say that either way.
I know, right? He snuck it on you. Yeah, you're gonna use multiplication, all right? So make sure you know your rules, again, for multiplying positives and negatives. Again, if you don't know, look on your reference sheet. We wrote that stuff for a reason.
Okay, so I gave you guys a little bit of a hint. When you do the distributive property, a lot of people draw these lines in so they know what they're going to have to do. What's the first thing I do with the distributive property? Yep, multiply what times what? Not 4. What goes with the 4? What's right next to it?
Negative,
Yeah, that negative always goes with that number. -4 times what?
x,
Times 5x. I had a plus up here. I'm going to copy that same symbol. I'm going to use the plus right there. What's the next thing I've got?
7.
Nope, not 7. We need something else.
-4 times 7.
Yep,
Oh.
-4 times 7. Okay. Now we got to combine like terms, do out the arithmetic.
Negative 20x.
Yep. -4 times 5 is -20x.
Negative 28.
And then there's -28. Okay, do you notice how she got rid of the plus sign? That's okay. You could put plus -28, or you can just write -28. That's a simpler way to do it. Okay, and the last one we'll do is this one. There's just a minus there. Sometimes people get confused what you're distributing when there's only a minus.
That means that the outcome will be negative.
So what are you going to distribute here?
Everything inside the parentheses.
That's what you're going to distribute to, but what are you going to distribute?
Inside the parentheses is the answer. Because you're gonna distribute 1 and 1 can't do anything.
You're not distributing a 1.
Close.
Close.
Negative.
Click.
You're distributing a -1.
Yes, you're distributing a -1. Okay. What happens when you multiply something by -1? What's the only thing that changes? The sign. Okay? So the answer is almost there, except all the signs are going to change. What's -1 times 7x? That's a -7x. What's -1 times -2y? Positive 2y. And -1 times +8. So the answer was almost right there. You just got to change the signs. Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, so that finishes up our review. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the homework for this part, and then we're going to look at the first section in chapter 3. Okay, so copy this down, and then we're going to start the first section in chapter 3.